Hey yo, what it do? Y'all already know what time it is, man. We back with another Elevation Talks, man. The last time we linked up, we were talking about this feeling that just a lot of people are feeling right now, and that's the feeling of, hey, I'm putting in all of this work, but I'm not seeing any fruit yet. You know what I'm saying? I'm not seeing any progress with what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? And I want to pick that conversation back up today because, you know, I just think it's so important to I think sometimes we forget because we live in a microwave society that things actually take time to produce. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think social media has captivated all of us in a way where, it's a feed and we just constantly get to scroll, scroll, scroll. That's the thing about social media. It doesn't run out of content. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's easy for us to not actually think about the process that it took for somebody to make that content and produce that content. And, for us, some of us, we're just looking at it from the space of, okay, I'm just looking at it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not actually thinking about the process that it took to actually create that and get it done. So that's what we jumping into today, man. Y'all already know I'm Naye Liggines. Stay tuned. Let's go.
I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground and it go off. Yeah, hit the ground and it go off. Yeah, yeah, run it. Ooh, I really feel it's my time. Think it's my year. Yeah. I really feel it's my time. Think it's my year.
Yo, man, let's just dive right into it, right? I am so, I feel for a lot of people that's experiencing the tiredness and the burnout of, hey, I feel like I'm doing this work. I feel like nothing is happening. And, I really feel for them because I was there, right? And I really wanted to talk about this, because I just wanted to give some words to some people who need it. You know what I'm saying? And I pray that by the end of this really encourages anybody that's feeling like that. You know what I'm saying? Anybody that's feeling like they just gonna quit, they just gonna give up, like they don't want to do it anymore. They're experiencing burnout and just all, you know what I'm saying? Just going through the motions, man. I really pray by the end of this show, the end of this episode, that you feel, you charged up again. You know what I'm saying? You got that battery in your back and you ready to get it. You know what I'm saying? And so the other day I was telling y'all about how, I was telling y'all about the journey of when I was doing the podcast. And I say was doing the podcast because now it is a talk show. You know what I'm saying? It is no longer a podcast. It is a talk show. And so literally, man, and I'll talk about the details of that later. But man, I want to talk from the space of, have you been called to do this? And I want to come from that angle because when you are building something, you almost, in a way, you have to feel like you've been burdened to do it. Like this is literally your assignment. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like a lot of times we don't actually feel called to do anything. We just see other people having success and other people winning in that area. And so we make the decision to be like, hey, you know what? Shoot, they over there getting some bread from that. I'm going to do it too. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to point nobody out, but I know a few people that literally have created digital products, courses, have even, written books and done all of these different things. And that's not what God has actually called them to do. You know what I'm saying? But because they were following the path or the footprints of somebody else's situation and thought it would be a good fit for theirs, they tried to adopt it as their own and create their own thing. And now they feel like they're drowning in it. You know what I'm saying? And so I say, have you been called to it? Because the thing about building something, you got to know and understand that it is going to take time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know so many of us, we are just used to skipping out on the process. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, that's the thing about the journey. You cannot skip the process. You know what I'm saying? Imagine this. Imagine you just started playing football in middle school and then you go straight to the NFL. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, you can see the gap of development. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was a process that needed to be had from middle school up into that full journey of you developing as an athlete. You understand what I'm saying? Like, and I mean, use your own situation or scenario that, could fit better so you can understand it. But the reality of it is there's a process when you do stuff. You know what I'm saying? Think about, okay, when you get your driver's license, you didn't just, okay, I learned how to drive today. I'm about to go take the test today and I'm about to get the license today. No, you know what I'm saying? At some point you have to have a learner's permit. You know what I'm saying? At some point you actually have to figure out how to drive and then become a good driver at that. And guess what? Even long after you get your license, some of y'all still not good drivers, but guess what? You still in progress. You still in motion. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, at some point you have to get to a space, and whatever it is that you're building, whatever it is that you're creating, you have to truly be called to do it because it is going to be a journey ahead. You know what I'm saying? One of the things that I wasn't big like on the Bible at first because it was like, I couldn't understand it, right? And so I finally got a copy of the Bible, a translation that I could actually understand. And I really just been using it as a resource because, I'm the blueprint in my family. You know what I'm saying? When I'm going through like my walk and my journey, I don't really have people that I could like talk through this stuff with. You know what I'm saying? And so I go to the Bible as a space of, understanding and clarity. You know what I'm saying? And one of the things that I want to talk about is, how I was telling y'all, like, you got to be called to it. I want to take the story of Noah. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are familiar with Noah's Ark, right? And so literally was just like, Noah was literally just an ordinary man following God. Like, he was living in a space where violence was happening constantly, and like it wasn't even popular to follow God during this time. You know what I'm saying? And so he was living, righteously, and not saying he was living perfect. You feel what I'm saying? But he was a follower of God. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like God gave him the instructions of, hey, I want you to build an ark. Now keep in mind, Noah never saw no rain before. You know what I'm saying? So think about how crazy it is to get an assignment from God and there's nothing, you don't even know what he's talking about. You know what I'm saying? You don't even understand why we need to do this in the first place. You know what I'm saying? But the thing about it was Noah, he didn't even hesitate. He didn't hesitate because he was familiar with God's voice. You know what I'm saying? And God literally gave him exact instructions all the way down to the measurements. Do you hear me? Of how to build this thing out. No, I ain't never built no ark before. You know what I'm saying? They ain't have Home Depot and Lowe's back in the day. They ain't have no tutorial videos on how to do this. You understand what I'm saying? So literally there was a process that Noah had to go through, man. You know what I'm saying? And guess what? He didn't build it alone. You know what I'm saying? But the thing about it is, this man, it took him decades. It took him decades to build the ark. You know what I'm saying? And then guess what? It didn't rain. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like immediately, like it even took a little more time for it to rain. And guess what? It took this man decades to build, right? And it only rained 40 days and 40 nights. Look, so you mean to tell me I didn't put in all of this work just for it to rain for 40 days? Look, $40. You know what I'm saying? Like, bruh, listen. That's why, you know what I'm saying? Like I was telling y'all, when y'all are building this thing out, when y'all are walking this thing out, this has to be something that you have been called to do. You know what I'm saying? Like this has to be something that you have been truly like burdened with. You know what I'm saying? And the way that you figure out, is this what God has called me to do? Is just ask him. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just, building this thing out and you putting all this time, this effort, this energy. Like I'm talking about you just, you doing it, you grinding. Pause and just spend time with God. I'm talking about intentional time. And just ask him, Lord, is this what you have called me to do? You know what I'm saying? Because and here's the thing, right? Let's say you feel like, shoot, I don't even have a relationship with God like that. So I don't even really know, you know what I'm saying? Like the process of that. That's okay too. You know what I'm saying? Like literally, it's going to take you 10 seconds just to pause and bring God into the conversation. You know what I'm saying? Lord, I don't know you like that and you don't know me like that, but here I am. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sitting up here, I'm grinding, I'm doing all of this work. Like, I feel like nothing is coming from it. Like, why am I here? You know what I'm saying? And it's like when you start to have those conversations, it's crazy because over time, you'll actually start hearing God. You'll start seeing miracles, signs, and wonders. You'll start meeting random people that you have never even encountered before. And they'll sit and have a conversation with you about something that you know that you spoke to God about and you ain't spoke to nobody else about. I can't tell y'all how many times, man, on this journey alone, bruh, over the last, I just realized when I was looking at my crazy faith experience journal, God gave me the idea about elevation talks in 2022. Like, when I tell y'all, and I'm gonna have to show y'all, but you know what? I'm gonna show y'all when we get to where we going. But literally, man, in my journal, it's 5:05 a.m. in the morning, and I'm writing out some instructions that I'm getting. Just randomly. And I even put where I was. I said bedroom closet. Like, I'm talking about when I looked back at this journal and I saw how detailed it was. Elevation Talks is going to be bigger than a podcast. This, that, and the third. Woo, woo, woo. We going to have a live audience. We going like literally it's laid out. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like, this was not something that I wanted to do. Y'all have heard my story before. I wanted to be a music artist. Before Elevation Talks, before it was called Elevation Talks with Naye Liggines, I started it as Elevation Talks with Naye Songs. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking I'm still going to be that version of me doing this. And so it's just like, yo, man, and here we are, fast forward now. This, like, I haven't seen a massive amount of like growth in terms of like, oh, we started in 2022. Guess what? We landed it on a network in 2023, or we got 1 million subscribers or viewers by 2023. Nah, I actually hadn't even been focusing on that. You feel what I'm saying? Because I've been focusing on the process of, Lord, why everybody doing a podcast, everybody on a microphone right now, like, why do you want me to do this? You know what I'm saying? And the thing about the way God be moving, sometimes, most times, he not going to tell you the why. You know what I'm saying? Like, He's gonna want you to move way before you ever understand the clarity or get the clarity of why you doing this in the first place. You know what I'm saying? When he gave me the idea about doing elevation talks, I'm just thinking like, for what? You know what I'm saying? And then I started thinking about all the things I need to produce it. I'm thinking like, okay, well, Lord, I need a big studio. Shoot, I'm gonna be on camera, so that means I need to have a haircut every time I get on camera. Shoot, I need to be fresh every time I get on camera. Like, I'm thinking about all the things and the stuff that I need. I need a production crew. Like, I need the bells and whistles. You know what I'm saying? Or at least that's what I thought. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, yo, it's not about you having all the things, all the latest gear and, you know what I'm saying, the latest setup and the this and the that. No, it's just about starting and continuing to go along the way and keep refining your process, not the process that somebody else gave you. You feel what I'm saying? And that's why I say you have to sit and ask yourself, have you been called to this? Because as you continue to go, that's when things are gonna continue to start like just panning out. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna start getting more clarity, more instructions, more understanding. And you know what I'm saying? But it's like you have to be caught working. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be caught actually doing it live and direct. And when I say caught working, I'm not talking about doing it to the point where you're burning out. You're burning out because you're carrying something that you're probably not even supposed to be carrying. You know what I'm saying? When we talk about outcomes and stuff, a lot of us think that if we just work hard enough, that's going to produce a really great outcome. And it's like, that's part of it, but that's not all of it. You can work hard, you can do this, you can do that, but you have to take those plans to God. You know what I'm saying? So that way you can learn how to work smarter and not necessarily harder. You know what I'm saying? You might be looking at somebody else's situation and be like, well, dang, they didn't commit their plans to God. They running it up. They doing it big. And it's like they on their last cycle. You know what I'm saying? You don't even know, you know what I'm saying, all the ins and outs of what they even got going on. And that's why it's important to know, like, when you've been called to do something, when you've been called to move differently, do that. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry about what nobody else's process look like. Focus on yours. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, yeah, I'm thinking about, I was listening to, who was that, Dr. Darius Daniels yesterday. And he was just talking about how when God had gave Abraham a word, it took about 25 years for it to like come to pass. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, and it's normal to, you know, come from a place of like, bro, what a fruit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I've been doing all of this work. I feel like I've been digging. I feel like I've been showing up, but what a fruit. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like one of the things that God had showed me last year about myself is I was just looking at fruit as, you know, where the money at, where the viewership at, where the people at, you know what I'm saying? Where all of this stuff at, right? But he had to change my perspective and show me that there are different types of fruit and not just, you know, money don't always mean fruit. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just like he started showing me, he told me to get consistent. That was one of the things that I was struggling with, just being consistent and staying disciplined through the process. So last year I had committed to myself, like, yo, I'm going to show up online every week. I'm going to drop a new episode every week for Elevation Talks. And on top of that, I'm going to release a new article every week. And so literally I've been doing that the last, 6 or 7 months at this point. And what I've found out is, although it may seem like on the outside, nothing is happening, but on the inside, I'm showing up more confidently. I know my purpose now. I know the reason for Elevation Talks now. I understand why it's important for me to be a writer and not only just be a writer, but actually get my content out there, get my books out there, get my articles out there, like literally do all the things and the stuff. You know what I'm saying? I understand the why now. I didn't have that clarity when I first started. I didn't have that clarity 3 years ago. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have that clarity 2 years ago. I got that clarity over the last year. And that's because I started executing consistently and I stopped worrying about all of the noise. I stopped worrying about the viewership. I stopped worrying about, how many followers are or even are people liking it or this or that. Like I stopped worrying about the analytics of stuff and just started doing it. You know what I'm saying? And I got to the point where now I literally got people asking me to come be a co-host with them for their show. You know what I'm saying? I got people coming to me like, Naye, can you help me with like on camera confidence? You know what I'm saying? Can you help me with speaking? Can you help me with writing my book? Can you help me with telling my story? And it's just like, here I am telling God when he had the conversation with me, hey, you're going to be an author, you're going to be a speaker. And I'm like, Lord, nah, you need to get somebody else to do it. Like, I don't even speak well. I don't even write well. I don't this, I don't that. And I'm literally just telling him all the reasons why I am not the person. You know what I'm saying? Just to finally start being consistent. And I say finally because it took me a while to get comfortable. It took me a while to start actually recognizing I have value within myself. And let me tell you how I started recognizing that. I'm sitting up here buying courses, looking at webinars, purchasing services. And I'm talking about some of these services are upward of thousands of dollars, right? Just to hear these people say the same stuff and have the same conversations that I've been having with myself for the last 5 years. Like, have you ever bought a digital product or attended a webinar or a conference, whatever? You've invested all of this money, right? Just to hear these people tell you something that you already know. I know I'm not alone. You hear me? Like and that's why I always say you don't need another conference. You don't need another digital product. You don't need any of that stuff. What you need is to have the audacity to keep going when nobody is looking. Yeah, man. What you need to have is the understanding of why am I even doing this? You know what I'm saying? And your why might be, well, God told me to do this. That's enough to get started because you know what excites me? One of the things that I always tell God, man, when I'm talking to him, I thank you so much for having plans for me. Like, I'm about to get into it. The fact that you know my name. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, the fact that, like, you, according to your word, it says, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you, not to harm you. Plans to give you a hope and a future. That's Jeremiah 29, verse 11. And you see me looking over because that's what I got on my wall inside the studio. Every time I come in here, I look at that verse because I'm like, you said you had plans for me. I know the plans that I had for me. And the plans that I had for me, I'm not going to hold y'all, man. When I was a music artist, I'm telling you, like, I was working so hard. I was working so diligently. I was showing up. Like, I didn't do like the music reviews and stuff like that because I never needed nobody to give me permission to do music. You know what I'm saying? I never needed nobody to tell me if my song is good enough. Do you know how many songs are constantly being produced and they go viral and they do all of this and they don't even have any substance? You hear what I'm saying? I wasn't waiting on anybody to tell me that I was good enough. I knew I was good enough because God chose me. You know what I'm saying? I knew I was good enough because I'm a kid of the king. You feel what I'm saying? And it's like, that's the type of confidence that you have to start building within yourself when you are doing whatever it is that you've been called to do. Initially, when I started doing music, I'm going to be honest, I didn't take those plans to God. Like, I didn't ask him, Lord, are these plans aligned with what you have for me? I just told him that I wanted to be a music artist. And not even told him, I started just executing. I wrote my first song at 13 years old. I recorded my first demo when I was 13. You understand what I'm saying? When I moved to Atlanta, I was going to showcases. I was doing what do they call? Writing sessions. Like I was in the building. I was in the building doing the things and the stuff. You know what I'm saying? And so literally I would go to these nightclubs. Anybody remember Phase? If you don't know that, like that's an old Atlanta club. But literally, man, I used to go to Phase and I would perform with some of my friends. Like we would have that, man, what? I just knew I was going to be an artist, bro. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like, yo, I was found working. You know what I'm saying? Like I found purpose while I was dream chasing. You know what I'm saying? I found purpose, and not even I found, purpose found me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember going to the studio. I had never been to the studio a day in my life. And shout out to Dre. Dre was the first engineer that was literally coaching me while I was in the studio. Naye, take your hands out of your pocket. Naye, when you, man, project your voice, do this, do that. Like, he real deal having a coaching session with me while I'm in the studio trying to record a record. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like, and that's what I mean by you're going to meet people along the way. As you doing your thing, as you know, and again, it may feel like there is nothing happening. It may feel like there is no progress being made. But I'm telling you, as you continue to keep digging in, you're going to see fruit in many different ways, man. You know what I'm saying? Like there are going to be resources that's going to be provided. Relationships are coming. Speaking of relationships, I've been meeting so many random people lately. And I say random, it's by random. It's not that they are random, but it's like literally I'll meet these people and we'll have a conversation. And it was just like, oh my goodness. I know me and you were supposed to meet. I know God set this up. And it's just like, it is so dope to be in relationships with people that you know God sent to you. Like my mentors, my friends, like, and these are people that I've just literally met within the last year. And I can tell this was nobody but God. This ain't nobody fingerprints but God, bro. You know what I'm saying? But it's been because I still been showing up and just doing the work. You know what I'm saying? So it's normal to feel like, yo, I'm doing this. You know what I'm saying? And you feel like, okay, I'm not seeing any results. I'm not seeing any fruit. You got to ask the question, have I been called to do this? Or am I doing this because I see other people doing it? I see other people winning, and so I feel like I can win too. You know what I'm saying? You can win too. You just got to find your own thing and figure out how to deliver your own thing. There are some of y'all right now that's comedians and models and actresses and actors and stuff like that. And you out here producing social media content and you thinking about the viewership. You're not even thinking big enough. Do you know that you can take that same content and start building you out a portfolio that you can send to these brands, that you can send to these networks, that you can send to these casting companies, and let that be your portfolio? Do you understand? Like, this is the thing, and that's why I say this has to be something that has burdened you. This has to be something that you feel like, yo, I'm supposed to be doing this. When you are producing that thing, when you are building that thing, that's when you're going to actually start seeing, hey, and it might even transition to something else. Or you might just continue to be that. But whatever it is, regardless of what it is, you're going to feel that this is what I'm supposed to be doing and not I'm just doing it because everybody else is doing it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm telling you, I'm speaking as a dream chaser. I'm speaking as somebody who has found purpose. There is so much fulfillment. You hear me? There is so much fulfillment when you are doing things that you know you have been called to do. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, the way you know if you've been called to do it, you feel it in your soul. There is a day that does not go by and it's like, I ain't thinking about that thing. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to me being on the mic, there is not a day that goes by where I'm not dropping gems. You know what I'm saying? On and off camera. You feel what I'm saying? Like, there is not a day that goes by where I don't have a brand new show concept and I'm sitting up here writing it down. Yeah, at some point, y'all gonna be seeing shows of mine on networks, movies of mine in theaters. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, for me, I don't just have one thing. And that was something that I had to learn too. I grew up in the era of, you got to have one thing and just focus on doing that one thing. And it's like, I understand that. But God has blessed me with several different talents, several different gifts. And so it's not that it's this or that. It's this and that for me. You know what I'm saying? So continue to do the work, continue to build, and more importantly, take it to God. Here I am thinking that I've had to grind. That's what I used to do during my music career. You know, I'm constantly just grinding. I'm grinding. And it's like now I'm moving with God. Like, I actually have rest days and I actually have time where I'm resting because I'm no longer managing the outcome of it. You understand what I'm saying? Like, when I Google my name right now, Naye Liggines, there's a whole discography that pulls up and I just be like, Lord, when did you do this? You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, literally, I was listening to Dr. Darius Daniels the other day, and he had mentioned I think it was Genesis 12:2. Hold on, let me pull it up real quick. And it was just talking about how God was going to make your name famous. And I was just like, wait a minute, what? Like, what you mean? What you mean by that? And so here it is right here. I'm in the scripture right now. Genesis 12, verse 2. I will make you into a great nation. I will bless you and make you famous, and you will be a blessing to others. That's in the word. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, this goes back to the idea of God having plans for you. You know what I'm saying? And the way Dr. Darius Daniels put it the other day, which I thought was chef's kiss, he was like, God is going to make your name famous because there are some people that he wants to meet through you. You know what I'm saying? There are some people who might not be familiar with him, but they familiar with you. And so he's going to build up your name so that he can get the glory. And I'm just like, this is why it's important for you to do whatever it is that you've been called to do. Because God is going to make your name famous. He's going to make you into a great nation. Make you into a great nation. There are things that you are building right now that will outlast you. You understand what I'm saying? I know for me, all the things that I'm doing, the content, the books, the stuff that hasn't even come to pass yet. I'm not just doing this stuff so that I can see it. I'm doing this stuff so when I'm long gone, it's going to encourage somebody else to go ahead and run it up. You feel what I'm saying? It's going to encourage somebody else to be like, well, you know what? I feel like I'm chosen too. I feel like I'm called to do something too. You feel what I'm saying? And it's just like, that's the stuff that I focus on, man. Like just knowing that God literally has plans for me. He gave me instructions. He said, you're going to be an author and you're going to be a speaker. And I'm like, okay, no, but what? And it's just like, I've been figuring out now, like, okay, boom, I already know some delivery systems that I can use to do this. You know what I'm saying? I already know some systems that I can use to actually make this thing go. You know, and I feel like I was telling y'all last time, I feel like God was able to, he knew he could trust me with this because he knows the work that I was putting in when I was just a music artist, chasing my own dreams. You know what I'm saying? Late nights, early mornings when nobody was watching. You feel what I'm saying? Up, talking, having conversations with myself. Up, figuring out, how do I do this? Never allowed anything to stop me. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm going to tell y'all, and I'm going to tell y'all something. I'm going to get out of here. When I was a music artist, my first single, On and Poppin', charted. It was on the top 50 hip hop and R&B records that was being played on the radio, right? On that chart, K Camp, Fetty Wap, Sierra, Kanye West. My name on the chart with theirs? That blew my mind. That wasn't even my best work. Do you understand what I'm saying? That was just one of them records that I felt like I needed to get out. Because it was in my system and I just couldn't keep it down in there no more. Like, it has to get out of me. You know what I'm saying? And literally, nobody showed me how to distribute my music worldwide. I was doing research. And I'm telling you, I know, and that's how I told you, God been walking with me since day one. Before dream chasing, he was walking with me. But even during the process of dream chasing, I never had a manager. I never had a team. I never had none of that. He always supplied everything that I needed when I needed. And I thought I needed certain things during that time. You feel what I'm saying? And it was just like, nah, you don't need that. You need this. You don't need that. You need this. And you know, that's where I trusted God even more. That's why I started learning how to trust God, because I knew that it wasn't just by luck that stuff is happening. No. You feel what I'm saying? So, man, listen. If you don't remember nothing else I say, keep going. You know what I'm saying? Take your plans, commit your plans to God and ask him, is this what you have called me to do? You know what I'm saying? And allow him to order your steps. Allow him to take you down the path that you need to go down. You know what I'm saying? And cancel out the noise. Stop focusing on the things that don't matter. I know you're trying to run up a bag. I know you're trying to run up a check. I know you're trying to do all of those things. And I'm not saying don't get paid. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying you're building something that you might not see financial fruit from yet. And that's why you have to change your perspective on what you deem as fruit. You understand what I'm saying? What you deem as progress, what you deem as success. You feel me? A win is a win. A win is a win. And you got to start learning how to celebrate your small wins. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you're never going to actually be able to, really embrace the big wins until you start embracing the small wins. You feel me? So keep running it up per usual. You understand what I'm saying?
I really feel it's my time, think it's my year.